My name is Sofia Delgado. I am the regional audience content editor for Newsquest, and I work with local newspapers like the Reading Chronicle, Bracknell News, Slough Observer, and some others. And what I do is I try to help newsrooms put out the best digital product that they can so that people want to read news that are important to them, but that they're also entertaining. My typical working day starts early in the morning. I switch on, read all the news, as many as I can, and after I get a feeling of what the national conversation is and the topics that everyone has questions about, particularly nowadays with coronavirus. I look at our own statistics from the website and what people are really interested about, and I get in touch with the newsrooms and provide them advice on things that they should perhaps follow up that they did a few days before and people still have questions about. And I also help newsrooms. I get in touch with them to figure out what is the best way to put that story out there, whether it's a video or it's a good headline and a good picture. All of these things come into play because we want to make sure that readers are getting the information that they need. Skills for journalists, most important is multitasking, organization skills, and timekeeping, particularly if you're working very tight deadlines, whether that is on a print newspaper, which you cannot get wrong, or on digital, because if someone else is going to beat you to the story, to be quick as well. And as well, research, communication skills, interviewing, that's very, very important. So being a people person goes a long way. The best way to get into journalism would be to do an NCTJ accredited course, and that is the National Council for Training of Journalists. There are different ways that you can do it. Some universities offer these courses, but also colleges, and you can do apprenticeships with local newspapers, which means you get to work at the same time as you're studying everything about media law and learning how to write really quickly, which is very important as well. The route of going through a newsroom is really good because you get that hands-on experience at the very beginning and you really understand how a newsroom works and you get good advice from very experienced editors. Websites that you can check out if you want to get into journalism, of course, the nctj.com, but then also we have journal resources that is put by other journalists who want to help younger journalists get into the industry, and it has lots of really good advice on how to get your first jobs, what kind of pay you can expect, how to fight your rates. And similarly, Press Patch, there's a lot of great work, and they have a lot of video training that you can access also on their Facebook, and they show tools that people use, and as well they do a lot of Zoom meetings where you can meet all the journalists in the industry to ask as many questions as you have. They're really good at answering messages, so if you email them, they will get back to you. But similarly, if there is any journalist or writer that you really like, do not hesitate to get in touch because they always welcome people who want to get into the industry. Journalism doesn't have typical working hours, unfortunately. You may get the Monday to Friday, but you need to work sometimes weekends, sometimes evenings. The news don't really stop, and it depends how big the organization is. So if you want to go into journalism, be prepared to work all days. So it could be weekends, it could be evenings, it could be that you get to do a shift overnight, especially if there are elections happening. And if there's any big breaking news, you will get asked to jump on it straight away. So yes, unfortunately, typical 9 to 5 is not a journalism thing. The most interesting aspect of my job is when we get news stories that make change. So if someone found something wrong, whether it was the council or any organization, something happening in the community, and we get the story out and we spark change, I think that's the most fulfilling for us. And to see that stories are well read when we know we're putting good, reliable information, that also feels really good. The most challenging is the other side of the coin, which is fighting fake news. We get to see a lot of people sharing news that are not factual and that are dangerous for the communities, and we want to make sure that we fight them as much as possible. However, with social media, it is becoming really difficult. So if you want to be a journalist and if you want to be committed to reliable information, we need more people like you. So favorite journalists that I follow on social media, I follow many because I follow pretty much everyone that I can find in the industry. But Robin Binter, she was the north of England. She does really good investigations. Sirin Kell tends to write for The Guardian and Vice, and she does human interest stories that are always a good read and are very insightful. And Amelia Tate as well, she's always up to very quirky stories about people that you didn't even know were out there, and they have really good things to say. If you want to get into journalism, I think the best way forward would be to start with a blog, write as much as you can, and be fearless. I think that's the most important one. Other skills that have to do with digital tools you will learn as the years go by, because also that changes all the time. But what's really important is that you want to make a difference to your community by being a journalist.